the Sharks give us a little bit of a teaser, and then they snatch it away in epic proportion. We'll talk about all that and more on this edition of Teal Town USA After Dark. But first, if you want to be a part of the show and join the Chomp-versation, chat with us and fellow Sharks fans on the page or the app. Of course, check us out in the YouTube chat, but that's also on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Reels, Reddit, Discord, shenanigans over at TikTok, and more at tealtownusa.com. And, of course, you can always support the pod over at Teal Town USA on the Venmos as well. We really appreciate it. And of course, that super chat's there as well if you like what you see. I am happily joined by Miss Jules. Jules, how are you doing this evening?
I'm good. The Sharks gave us a game, which is more than I thought that I could say before coming on here. We have a game.
We had a game for sure. I mean, it was a little bit lopsided.
Oh, no, for sure. I wasn't saying it was pretty. I was just saying it was more interesting than what I thought it was going to be, which is like a 9-0 blowout. So
yeah, right. At least it was something a little bit different. But no, unfortunately, the Sharks did fall to the Hurricanes 6-3 this evening. And I mean, it was spirited back and forth for sure at the beginning. And then I think the Sharks just kind of got outmatched by the depth of Carolina. Yeah. And I think, this goes to show you why they're so good. And why this team, I think, is going to do some damage in the postseason. I mean, they haven't gotten over the hump in a little while for conference finals, but you just got to give yourself the shot to get there. And I think from what we saw tonight, if you can open up, a game like that and then just outlast your opponents the way in which they do, I think they're going to set themselves up for long-term success. That's for sure. But to get this started with, the Sharks actually opened up scoring. I mean, what is this? At 3 minutes and 14 seconds, Fabian Zetterlund on the breakaway with a beautiful up pass from Tomas Hertl gets us started. And, I mean, we liked the way in which Zetterlund has been playing. We thought he was a little Timo light. And I think, honestly, this just goes to show you the kid has some good acumen and, jumped up in the play and made it count. What'd you see on the play, Jules?
I think we forget about the human aspect of hockey. Like, the dude was traded in the middle of the year, and then I saw a lot of people being like, oh, Zetterlund's not good. The dude has a shot. Like, I don't know if y'all saw that. That was a sick, first of all, nice pass. I forgot who it was. I think it was Hertl. Hertl with a smooth-ass pass over to Zetterlund, and he just ripped it. Like, guys, he's going to be good. I don't see him as a top six, but, like, he's a player, and he's shown that to us in the first 3 games. I know it's a small sample size, but what a shot.
Ian and I were talking that Zetterlund, I think, projects to be like a nice second-line winger if he reaches his ceiling, and I think his floor is a nice third-line winger. I think he's a good player, and I think he's somebody that can be of value on a championship level team. And I think right now, if you were to put him on, say a Carolina or a Florida or a Tampa, he might be playing third line, fourth line minutes. But here in San Jose, I think he's got a little bit of a shot to showcase what he can do. And
100%. And a lot of players do. Like, also, if you look back at that Meyer trade now, you have Zetterlund, who's a potential third line, second line. You have Musty, who I think we've talked about so much on this podcast, and you have Muka Madulin.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you possibly get 3 cornerstones to your next core right there. So it's looking better and better.
Yeah, I think in the beginning, and especially with a player like Timo, who's born and bred in the system, you're attached to those kind of players. But I think in the long run, what you look at is some really good pieces, some really interesting pieces that can make up for Timo's scoring, and I think it can all of a sudden do a little bit better of a job of depth for the Sharks versus having that high end talent. And I think we had
100%.
yeah, we had talked about the team needing some depth. So again, awesome that that we were able to get the scoring started off on the right foot.
Can I mention Timo got benched last game for the Jet Devils?
I
Sorry,
was
just
just
saying.
about to say that too. Yeah, Timo
I'm
getting
just
benched
pointing
in
that
the
out there.
third. Yeah, Lindy Ruff benching him, and unfortunately, right now Timo's having a little bit of a hard time, right? In Jersey, but we know what Timo can do, and we know he's a slow starter, and
he's gonna come out and get a hat trick next game. Now that Teal Town said that, so be prepared.
Exactly, as Puck Guy would say, the post Teal syndrome.
Oh, 100%, 100%.
Now, going in, into the next goal, unfortunately, Seth Jarvis would tie it up 4 minutes and 6 seconds. So it was a little, under a minute. So that's kind of a bummer. But the goal would be scored on special teams, and it was Bunting and Teravainen getting the assist there. And again, we had talked about getting the goaltender kind of out of position and cross ice movement. And again, you see why, because 9 times out of 10 when you get that goaltender moving side to side, it's their weakest time to be shooting on them. And it's kind of just goes to show you. Now I think position wise, I would have liked the team to be a little bit better when in their own defensive zone, because I think, quite honestly, the PK was a little bit all over the place tonight. And this kind of shows you why Carolina's power play is really a very interesting power play, in that a puck can be shot from any which way out of that power play. It's not necessarily a number one guy on there, but what that power play really does well is it's the volume of shots you face from it, and it's the directions and angles that you're getting a lot of shots from that Carolina power play. So
they have threats everywhere. Like, Carolina's ridiculously stacked offensively. Like, literally, like, anyone there could be a threat. I thought Michael Bunting had a really good game. He's just a pest to play against, and like, you literally have Bunting. They also were missing Aho and Svechnikov, and they still had that good of a power play. Like, that's something we need to remember. They're missing 2 of their arguably best. Well, Aho is their best player, but like 2 arguably of their top 2 players. And their power play still looked very crisp against very crappy penalty kill, which isn't normal for the Sharks. I don't remember if it was this goal, but I don't know what Ferraro was doing. I think the man was trying to help the Canes out instead of the Sharks. I think he forgot what team he was playing on there for maybe, like 5 seconds.
Yeah, maybe seeing Bernsey again. He's like, uh-oh, I think I'm on the wrong side of the ice here.
Well, apparently him and Bernsey were hanging out, so you don't know what happened. But like, he's like, give us the puck. And Ferraro did that. So props to him. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, right. But the shots on goal in that first period was just hilariously lopsided, 18-5 in favor of Carolina. And again, you had texted me, midway through that first period, and you're like, are we going to get a track meet? And I'm like, I'm looking back and forth, and there is no sense of control through the neutral zone. It just seemed like everybody was losing the puck in the neutral zone, and you were getting these 2-on-1s or 3-on-2s or just this back and forth play.
For a while, I genuinely thought it was going to be like an 8-9 game, and I was like, Sharks, you picked the wrong team to get in a track meet with. But arguably, this Sharks team can score compared to other teams where they couldn't really score. But also, the Sharks just can't break out the puck out of their own zone. I'm sorry. They were horrible at that tonight.
I will say this. I mean, the one guy that I think was moving the puck consistently was Henry Thrun. He didn't really have a great game last game, but kind of victimized on the goal that the Avalanche scored. But Thrun, to me, is a guy in which
Did he play last game? I thought he was benched one of the games, and he came in today for Vlasic. I might be wrong, though, so don't quote me on that. But anyways.
You know what? I think you're right, because I think I'm thinking about the first game when I did After
He got
Dark.
victimized against Vegas. I think that was it. Because he had a really bad game against Vegas. But who didn't have a bad game? So.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that game was just gnarly. But getting back to it, I mean, a guy in which I felt, for me, I look at his puck movement and the way in which he can get the puck out of the zone, and he's one of the few from the blue line that can do that right now. One other guy that I liked tonight was Knizhov. I felt that he had a good game, and I felt he had a good strong presence. But like you said, I think it felt the rest of the guys just kind of felt like they were skating through mud a little bit on the back end. I felt the forwards did a very good job tonight. Bordy and Eki especially on breaking out the puck and being there to support.
Eklund was trying to kind of do everything himself at some point. We just saw, I think he got really frustrated with his own defense and was like, I'm just going to take this puck and try to just smash through this defense. But yeah, no. And
in that third period, of course, in the first couple of periods, I thought, the team brought a consistent effort, but that third period was just bad all around.
They didn't let a shot on goal for 5 minutes into that third period, and then decided, well, we're ahead and it's nap time, so let's take a nap. Also, why is Kyle Burrows on our top defensive pairing?
This was what I said. This is what I said on that first game. I'm like, Burrows is being featured way too hard. Oh, and thank you so much, Jerry. We just got a super chat donation coming in from Jerry. I will put it up as soon as it comes up. Here we go. And he's saying, thanks for the awesome coverage. TT USA will be our commiseration station for most of the games this year. Just think, only 79 more to go. Yikes.
Malcolm Celebrini. No, I'm kidding. I'm not going to start that now.
Hey, I you know what? I hope he's a good player. That's all I hope. but no, like I said, in that first couple of periods, I thought it was very good. I thought the skating was crisp. I thought, the team had a good idea of what they wanted to do. I don't think they executed it in the greatest of respects, but I think the game plan, was sort of there. And then in that second period, really it became a story of special teams. And, it was the fact that the Sharks special teams, while scoring two, had a real big problem, defending in their own zone on multiple occasions, and would let in a shorthanded goal for Carolina's second goal of the evening, coming in at 8:54. It was a wrist shot, a shorthanded goal from Jacob Slavin. And this is just one that you just cannot let happen. Jacob Slavin is a defensive defenseman going into the zone with one other, kind of half forward, with him, and I say half forward because he was covered, and yet he's able to get the puck off very quickly, and the team just not tag him coming through the zone. And I don't understand the lack of defensive acumen on the PK. I know that for a long time Erik Karlsson was the poster child of, don't give a crap on the PK in the defensive zone, but I don't know if the team has been watching his highlights or just remembering his old habits. But Jules, what'd you see on the shorthanded goal? I'm at this point, I'm like, guys are new and yet this is still happening.
I think the Canes are also just a different beast of a team. I think this was the fourth shorthanded goal they scored this season. Mind you, they've played maybe 4 to 3 games of hockey. So I'm not taking the Sharks off the hook here. Listen, the Sharks have never really been good at the power play to start the year. Last year, I literally put out a tweet saying, can a team reject a power play?
Right.
So the Sharks should consider doing that once in a while, by the way. But no, I don't know who it was. Eklund tried to, I think it was either Eklund or Hoffman. I do not recall. Someone can yell at me in the chat. Yes, Hoffman. So yeah, Hoffman just tried to get it in the zone, try to do a pass without looking, and Slavin was just like, I'm going to take it. And at that point, Blackwood was at 20 plus shots, and you can't have Blackwood save you from everything. The dude's playing well. This isn't maintainable to him. You're stop. But also they're running with 5 forwards, so every PK is going to be more aggressive because they know there's no defense. If you look at who's out there, you have Hoffman, cannot play defense. Hertl, he'll either play, I don't know what to do with Hertl right now, but he's playing well.
Ish.
He did pass Owen Nolan for 5th, I think, all 6th or 5th in all-time points for the Sharks, which is pretty cool. But PKs are gonna, because they don't have defense right now in their power play. You have 5 forwards. So yeah, I don't really know what to tell you there. It's gonna happen a lot this year, I think, with the 5 forward power play.
Yeah, and Hoffman, I mean, I don't understand why you go with the 5 forwards there. I mean, I know that
Because who are you gonna put at the point?
put Thrun
You
at
have
the point.
Thrun.
Yeah.
No, he's already at the point for PP2.
Put him on PP1. I mean,
And then who's quarterbacking PP2? Benning? Vlasic? Burrows?
Shoot, put Knizhov back there. Put Jan Ruda back there, for Christ's sake. I don't know, but I mean,
Landy wants Vlasic quarterbacking a power play.
Oh no! Don't you put that on me?
I'm not.
Don't you put that on me?
But my point is, I think in the perfect world they would have Couture on that point where the defenseman would be, because Couture arguably is pretty reliable defensively. So I think that's what Quinn was hoping for.
Couture defenseman.
He's better than Vlasic, arguably defensively. So I don't know, man. But yeah, I want them to put Thrun on that first power play. Just give it like Thrun, Eklund, Bordelot, Hertl, and like Zadina. Like, have at it, boys.
Well, and then this is the part in which we kind of got teased, because then Philip Zadina would come in at 9-11 on the power play. His second goal of the season, with Zetterlund getting the assist there. So Zetterlund already picking up a 2-point night.
Can we also talk about Zadina fighting for Hertl and that not getting called, and then him getting the only penalty on that play, please?
So, and I think it bleeds into another point. Tonight, the officiating. I mean, I know we're early in the season, and I know that this is me, wearing my teal tinted glasses here, but man, it just seemed like it was the tackiest crap that they were calling, and it was inconsistent, and I think there were some extra liberties taken that should have been called that weren't called, and I don't understand. I mean, I know we always face inconsistency, I know, at the very beginning of the season with officiating, but this just looked like freaking ECHL refereeing.
This was such bad refereeing. I was like, I think they are also the same refs from last game, and I don't think last game also had the best officiating crew ever. But I think since Quinn yelled at the refs during that one game, I don't remember the exact. You got last year. I think the refs just hate the Sharks now, and like everything's gonna get called against us because refs remember that type of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, and the Sharks, let's just say, I think historically have never garnered a lot of love from the officials. I mean,
except during the Vegas Game 7 game. I'm sorry to bring that up.
Okay. Well, besides that, I mean, I think, I look at the Evander Kane and how long the Evander Kane situation in which, he tangled up with a referee, and how long it took for him to get out of their doghouse. And then, when talking about Quinn and how he chewed out the refs, last year, and now he's in the doghouse with the refereeing. I think it just feels like the Quinn era of Sharks might not get the calls yet, and I think it's going to take a little bit for the refs to not be butthurt. So that's.
But my issue is Hertl was like implanted into the boards,
and
he honestly could have gotten hurt. And then Zadina was the only one who got a penalty for standing up to his dude, like standing up for arguably his captain right now.
And you could arguably say that the cross check in which the Sharks inflicted upon the Carolina Hurricanes was less egregious than what Hertl took. And that
Duclair got the most weirdest cross-check penalty where both his arms weren't even on it. One of his arms were off, and he was just pushing up against the guy.
It's
and
like,
even,
what are you supposed to do in that situation, right? I mean, you're not his stick is not vertical or not horizontal, and he's not having two hands on it, and yet he's still called for a cross check on that, a cross check. And I like you, I don't get it. I didn't get it.
Like,
And
that call makes no sense.
yeah,
So, I don't know. But
but
you could also argue the Canes had a pretty major call go against them in the review of Eklund's goal, which we can get to later, but, like, it was just crappy officiating on
was it
both ends.
though? I mean, we always.
I can see the argument.
I mean, the thing is though, and we'll talk about. I guess that's probably not a bad way to get into it, because Eklund would score his first of the season, and yay, I'm so happy for
happy.
that kid. Again, last year was kind of a slog for him, and we had hoped that he was going to get a goal last year, but he gets his goal, and that's good. Gets another power play. Thrun and Hertl get the assist. Again, I thought Thrun did a great job of moving the puck. Was rewarded with a good assist there. The same thing with Hertl assisting on that one. But let's talk about this goal. I think, one, it's good to see Eklund driving the net quickly. It's good that he is using his best asset, which is his skating, and puts a good puck on the net, and just kind of had a nose for. Goal. Eklund had a goal last year. I'm sorry, but the first of his season this year, and it came pretty quick. So that, I think, what I'm thinking of is just the speed in which he got his goal. But going back to what he's doing good this season, I just think that he's just driving play, and again, driving to the net a little bit stronger than he was last year, and being a net positive for his line mates. And so to be,
I think whoever plays with Eklund right now is better. Like, he made Luke Cunnan look good. I would just like to point that out. Like, whoever he's playing right now is making them better. Like, his IQ is ridiculous. And he's like forechecking like a absolute maniac right now.
yeah,
And like, Quinn's throwing him out there on the penalty kill when Zadina was in the box. He was out there doing penalty kill, and during preseason, I know it was preseason, whatever, but he got some pretty good chances. And like, Eklund's gonna be a problem for the league, and I'm so excited.
yeah, I know it'll be nice to see, maybe him and Bordy play on a line, or him and Will Smith, come and play on a line soon. I'd love to see him get get a good centerman, or at least if he evolves into a centerman, he can lead a couple of good line mates. So again, good to see that on him. But I think now, going kind of overall of about the goal itself, he comes in, and like you said, uses his IQ to place himself in a great position. Goes far side on a streaking play, and there was the contact was initiated outside of the blue paint. And so when I see that, especially if it's the initiating player, if the goaltender makes a strong move to come to the top of his circle, and even come out of the top of the circle, out of his crease, and when I talk top of the circle, I mean top of the half circle. But when he comes out of the crease and gets outside of the blue paint, when you have the goal scorer initiating the contact, I think it's fair game, right? Because again, it starts outside of the goaltender's zone. I think what I initially saw was the two players getting their skates kind of tied together. But then I think what the egregious point of view from Carolina's perspective was the fact that there was a little bit of a pad impediment. Now, I don't think the pad impediment was to the point in which he could not make the save. I also don't think that the contact that Eklund initiated also materially changed how the save was going to be made. I think by going out and being over aggressive, I think Antti Ranta put himself in a place in which he could have gotten scored. And I think the league oftentimes errs on the side of the goaltender. I don't like that. I prefer they err on the side of the scoring. And if they're going to, come down on the goaltender side, then at least explain the areas in which you're trying to go through. Now, I think somebody in the chat, and I think it was let's see, I think it was either Swift Shark or Not So Mid Major, was saying that they'd like to
Yeah.
see an explanation, and that does come out. That does come out to the broadcasts. Now it's up to the broadcast whether they want to share it, but there should have been
But also,
an explanation.
what
somewhere.
is goaltender interference in this league? Because for the last several years, goaltender interference has just been this little we're gonna call goaltender interference when we feel like it, but it's never gonna be consistent. So, and the thing is, I get why Brenda Moore was upset. I get the pad and his skate went into the pad or something. That makes sense. But since we have no definition of what goaltender interference is, I think people, Canes fans might argue that it was goaltender interference, and Sharks fans are like, no, this is perfectly fine. So just getting clarity on that, I think, is also important.
No, I think you bring up some great points, and again, I think it's always good to have a large set of challenges happen, especially in the beginning of the season, so that you can understand the nuances of how goaltender interference is going to be called in this particular season. I know that has been a floating, it's been a floating point, especially throughout the league's history on what is and is not goaltender interference. But again, I think always having a good sample size and having a good explanation from the league front office is paramount, especially when you're trying to foster goodwill towards the fans. Because I think, if anything, hockey is probably one of the more esoteric when it comes to rules, and I get a lot of questions about how do you understand what goaltender interference is? How do you
don't.
Yeah, exactly. And
you can't explain goaltender interference. For anyone out there who's not watching hockey, if you ask us what is goaltender interference, I think it changes year to year, night to night. Honestly, I would not be surprised 2 months from now if we see the same exact goal get called back for goaltender interference, because it changes constantly. The NHL rules changes constantly. There's no explanation to any, except for maybe offsides and icing, which even that arguably is debatable. There's no, So, yeah.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And I think, the offsides, it's funny you bring that up. That's become arbitrary as well. So clarification is always good, and I think I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, because this is a whole other discussion.
It really is. Aaron Jacks, thank you so much for chiming in. Zadina looks like a gift. I totally agree with that. And let's also not forget that playing with Tomas Hertl and playing with a fellow countryman can do a lot to your self-confidence. So I think that's not to be discounted.
That dude has a shot.
And he has a shot.
Whew. I saw that and I was like, guys, this was a smart pickup by Mike Greer. Honestly, I know it's early. This might blow in my face down the 72 games from now on. But the dude can shoot and it's worth the chance. And who knows, he might be a future piece of your core with Will Smith or whoever the Sharks have down at Beast at dishing to him. He seems to be a really good pickup, and I think he needed that culture change.
Yeah, for sure. I think you're right on the nail, hitting the head right on the nail there. So unfortunately, that would be the end of the good times for the Sharks. The Sharks would end that second period again facing a deficit at 6-12 in favor of the Canes on shots on goal. Going into the third, the Sharks, I think, played well in that first 10 minutes of the third period. However, at 9:07, Stefan Nason, former Shark, comes through with, of course. Yeah, exactly. Some post-Teal syndrome going on there. Stefan Nason with his first goal of the season caught Kaniemi, and what I can't remember how to pronounce his name. Sjei.
Oh, Jarvis.
Jarvis. Yeah, Jarvis. Thank you so much. He would factor in again on the assist sheet, and
at some point talent catches up.
You're right.
This Sharks team, okay, their offense, you can argue, is pretty talented. You have players like Duclair, who's kind of invisible right now, but you have players like Duclair, Eklund, who can, they're talented, but Carolina just at some point it was going to explode, and them just allowing Blackwood to constantly get bombarded by shots was gonna blow up, and that's exactly what happened here.
Shea, sorry, I apologize.
Oh, Brady Shea, my bad.
Thank you.
But that's exactly what happened here. The talent caught up. The Canes are a better team. I think they were my cup picks this year. So talent's going to catch up. The Sharks are bad this year. They're going to stay bad this year. This is going to happen a lot. Get used to it. Anywho, but yeah.
Yeah, and I was looking at the replay, and again, it's another one of those cross ice passes, and it goes through the box, and when you're on the PK, they're taught to not allow the puck to go through the box, and they unfortunately right at the end it was a little tic-tac-toe through the box, and unfortunately Blackwood would have no shot at that. It would come on the power play for Carolina, and I think we had said that the special teams the special teams definitely take it away at this point.
Yeah.
And the score getting tied up there 3-3. But Jarvis would score his second on the evening with Nikosh and Burns getting the assist there, and that coming on the slap shot on a power play again, 11:51. So it would come about 2 minutes 40 some odd seconds. And
I think it was Ian who tweeted this. They're starting to become the Barracuda of last year, just constantly taking penalties. Like, you gotta stop taking penalties. I know the refs suck, but like, stop taking penalties because one of your PK isn't bailing you out like it was last year, arguably. This just was inflicted doom on the Sharks. So
not only that, Jules, but I think the fact that the defense is kind of a patchwork at the moment, and you're relying upon a PK in which itself is not fully formed. It's a recipe for disaster. Yeah, exactly. So like you said, it really just comes to the fact that there's just so much more depth on Carolina.
Also, when you're not possessing the puck at all in a game, you're not likely going to win it. The league's becoming more possession based than anything else. Like, you need the puck. And I think the Sharks' theory for this next rebuild is let's possess the puck as much as possible so we don't have to play defense. And that's what the Canes did here. They just possessed the puck for like most of the game. And, at some point it cracked onto the Sharks, if that made sense.
Yeah. No, I think it does. And I think you really put it eloquently. Nikosh would score again, this time coming around on a wraparound bunting, and Shea getting the assists there, and then it just kind of turned into a little bit of a track meet. Brett Pesce would score, Kanyemi and Nason would get the assists there, and it would be 6-3. And it just felt like the Sharks just, I think, let their foot off the gas once they had the lead. After that 10-minute mark, it just felt that they just stopped skating, and I think
the Sharks are not a team who can do that.
Yeah, and Carolina, give them credit. I mean, their depth strode through, and they put 12 shots up on in that third period, and give them credit. I mean, you come away with 42 shots on goal to the Sharks 16. They played really smothering defense, played great with the puck. And again, this is one of those teams that I think is going to probably either come in second in their division or win their division this particular season.
I think Carolina, honestly, I'm honestly proud of how the Sharks team handled them, except for the last 10 minutes. Like, they put up a fight. They put up a fight against the Avs. We don't talk about Vegas, but they put up, for the last 2 games at least, they've been putting up a fight to teams that are arguably going to win the Cup. You could say Carolina and Vegas could be a Stanley Cup matchup. Or not Carolina. Carolina and the Avs could be a Stanley Cup matchup. But, like, they put up a fight, so it's not like, I thought this was going to be a lot worse than it is. I'm actually being entertained, which makes the loss kind of worth it. This, at least they have young guys who we're starting to see develop. And I know this is going to be a long season, but we have guys like Bordelot and Eklund and Thrun and Knizhov who are starting to develop and to take form. So you can't compete versus the Canes. They're too talented, and the Sharks kind of suck right now. So that's it.
Natchez. Thank you, Felix. Appreciate it. I think you look at the scoring, and you look at how much they scored. They scored 3 goals, which is good. Definitely building blocks. And you look at who scored. It's the people that you want to score, so that's good. But again, that letdown in the last half of the third period. I mean, that's where you make your bones, boys. And unfortunately, you kind of let one slip through, and you gave a good all around effort. I think for 50 minutes. But good efforts for 50 minutes is only going to get you so far. And you
The
saw
Sharks don't have enough talent to just give effort for 50 minutes. They have to give the full 60.
yeah,
And they simply just said, we're going to go to sleep now, against a team who is far greater in talent. Like, you can't win on talent alone. The Sharks don't have that talent to win on talent alone. Not to quote Herb Brooks, but like, you know what I mean?
yeah.
Like, they let their foot off the gas. But like, I don't know. At this point, I'm like, if you're going to lose, at least lose in an entertaining fashion. And at least they gave us that, except for the last 10 minutes.
Yeah, right. Well, we are hitting the 35-minute mark, and we really appreciate everybody who's joined us this evening. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe. Hit the bell to get notified after we go live. Of course, if you're a long timer, we go live after every single game. This particular game, unfortunately, the Sharks would fall 6-3 against the Carolina Hurricanes. Shots coming in 42-16 in favor of the Carolina Hurricanes. Sharks with 32 blocks, which is nice. But on the face-off dot, the Sharks would be at 47%. Go for two for 6 on the power play, but would allow 3 power plays as well. So, Jules, I just want to give you the floor and let me get your final thoughts and where the people can find you, and let's start wrapping this thing up.
Yeah. Final thoughts. This is going to be a long season, but there is stuff to look forward to because the Sharks have a really good prospect pool. And I'm definitely not looking forward to the draft, or definitely am looking forward to the draft and just waiting for the season to fly by. Not to be that person, but I will be that person because I like my prospects. But yeah, you guys can find me at Sharks Jules. And yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And also, if you haven't already, please check out our Barracuda coverage. Tomorrow, we are going to be having a special guest, Mr. Nick Nolenberger of the Barracuda. We'll be talking with Ian Reed, and it will be great because we'll get to see a little bit of a bird's eye view on the baby Sharks. We'll get to see what's going on with the prospects and who Nick is liking in the system, who he's got his eyes on, and what his keys are going to be to, having a successful start of the campaign for the Barracuda. So please check that out tomorrow night. And thank you, Ian, for getting that scoop for us. That's always awesome to check in with Nick. And as far as my final thoughts go, well, I think the Carolina Hurricanes are going to be a kind of a powerhouse. You do wonder a little bit about the goaltending, but they're going to get healthy, and then they're going to get good, and they're going to be exciting to watch. It's good to see the Sharks keep up with them for 50 minutes. I think, like I had said before, I just want to see some strides. So, again, a 50-minute effort is better than a 40-minute effort, which is better than a 30-minute effort. So, baby Sharks.
We're going up.
Maybe baby Sharks going into bigger Sharks and going up.
Oh,
maybe?
God.
Hopefully.
Hopefully. That's what we want at this point in time.
Oh, and not so mid-major says, please don't say baby sharks again. He works with kids.
Oh, God.
Well,
Teams use that song to troll the Sharks.
Yeah,
so.
Right. I know.
God.
But as far as where you can find me, you can use my first name. That's Eric, E-R-I-K. Last name Landi, L-A-N-D-I, on all of the social media garbage. And come and find us. We've got some great content for you coming out. But in case you missed us and you want to catch us again, check us out across all of our channels and subscribe to the YouTube channel and hit the bell. You'll get notified after every Sharks game that we're going live. But if you can't and you want to join us on the audio, check us out on Apple Podcasts, the Google Play Store, of course, the YouTube Rewind, SoundCloud, Spotify, TuneIn, iHeart, Audacity, and then, of course, always on tealtownusa.com. We've got great articles and editorials, and you can definitely check out the Nick Nolenberger interview tomorrow night here. Sorry, went a little bit too fast on that, but you can check that out here on YouTube. And for everybody at the show, keep it real, keep it teal, keep it real teal, and have a great night. Now I think it's time for that outro.